This place feels creepy with intense energy. It's 448 and the max radiation allowed is 0.3. That's wild. I didn't even sleep well last night, travelers. I was so excited. The desire to see this place is so strong, it just keeps growing and growing and growing. Finally, the big day has arrived. This is the meeting point. There are about 3 or 4 buses and a van over there waiting to take us to Chernobyl. This is the bus that's going to take us. Our name's on the front, so you can't miss it. Wait, guys, where am I? I'm not there? Here it is, Lucas Estevum. We chose Chernobyl tours for the tour. I've already run into a big problem on the bus because I gave my Italian passport, but I'm carrying my Brazilian one. So I have to pay a $35 fine just to make that change and get there. You need to go through immigration to enter the Chernobyl exclusion zone. Someone here is helping me with it. I'm tense because I came all this way to visit Chernobyl, but everything is fine here. He registered me, this guy. Now I'm going in, look at that. It's really a tour, travelers. Crazy, crazy, crazy. Look, they already went through because they gave the right passport. How does someone do that, huh? How? Let me explain so you can understand the mess that's happening. The passport I brought the Italian and the Brazilian, but I entered Ukraine with the Brazilian one. I had registered with the Italian one for the tour, but he then charged me a $34 fine to change it. Actually, he just changed it in the system, so he didn't really have to charge anything, right, buddy? But what can you do? It was either I paid or I wouldn't go. If I came all the way to Ukraine to go to Chernobyl, what do you think I did? I paid. And I paid happily because that's what I came here for, right? But honestly, I could have avoided spending those $35. Carol even told me this. Look, Carol said it clearly. It has to be the one you registered for the tour. Bring it. I said I'd just take my Brazilian passport since it expires soon and will get the radiation. Not both my Brazilian and Italian ones. Then I'll just get rid of it, you know? I'll throw it away. Now, the Italian one has 10 years before it expires, so I'm not going to use the Italian one yet. My mind wasn't thinking clearly then. I want to interview the mission participants now. Carolina, what do you expect from this trip?
Curious, that's the word.
Why did you want to come to Chernobyl?
Because of the history.
Does it fascinate you too?
Me too, I love history, and these places fascinate me, even if some are a bit macabre. But it's historical tourism, not macabre tourism.
Here's another team member, Kadu. Kadu, my son, what are your expectations? Are you nervous? What are your expectations for Chernobyl? I don't know, that's the radiation taking effect. It starts making people nervous, people start getting all jittery, and as soon as we boarded, we also received a certificate with our name on it. And at the end of the trip, they'll tell us how much radiation we received. My God, what an adventure! What an adventure, travelers, what craziness!
Hi, I'm Sasha, your guide for the first part.
Sasha. I liked his connection to Shusha. A short video plays, sharing more about the place's history, and you can see people are very interested in the documentary. Travelers, this is the electronic ticket we'll use to enter Chernobyl. We must follow and carefully observe several rules. You can't take pictures of the security cameras of their security camera system because they're very afraid that an attack or something like that might happen. You can't sit on the ground, smoke, drink, use drugs, etc. I just arrived and there's a checkpoint. It's like an immigration checkpoint, as if I were entering another country, even though Chernobyl is still in Ukraine. Look, there's all that stuff just for tourists to see, right? So they put a war tank here. And there are several tours, there are several companies that offer this trip. Some tourists act crazy or clueless, doing silly things and joking around, which I don't think is cool. This is a serious place and should be respected. If you come here, you shouldn't treat Chernobyl like Disneyland, like it's some kind of amusement park. Chernobyl is a place where many people died so that others could live. Many people sacrificed their lives to make Europe what it is today. I'll explain why later. There's a kind of small open church like this. It's the tourist part, all touristy, right? Information center. They sell souvenirs. You can buy masks, you can buy clothes. Here's the company for our tour, and you can buy souvenirs here. We also rented one to measure radiation. Pretty cool. Here, it's like immigration, you see? A soldier comes by checking everyone's passport and will open it here. It's just like real immigration. Look, your passport has to match your ticket, which was already registered before you took the trip, before the tour. Thanks to my wonderful friend Kaka from Volta ao Conto, who helped me find this company in Chernobyl. I always really wanted to come here. And she told me it was that simple, right? What was it? You have to make a reservation. It's actually good to book a few months in advance.
You have to book a few months in advance and pay close attention to the company you choose to book with. It must be a certified, reputable company.
Yeah, there are only a few. We have just about 3, right? That are really certified and reputable. And this one we're working with, from what we can tell, they're kind of like the owners of Chernobyl, right?
Very organized, yeah.
And super organized. super professional and all that, but you can tell they know everything, you know? They even have their logo all over the place. This is serious. Travelers pay $10 for meter access. Where's the meter, Kaka? Our cute little thing. This meter shows us where radiation is highest. It's a Geiger counter that measures radiation as we pass different places. We're going to measure the amount of radiation we accumulate throughout the whole day. I hope it's very little. What kind of crazy thing am I doing with my life? But calm down. Guys, Chernobyl today is a pretty safe place. One day here in Chernobyl is equivalent to 2 hours of flying. Here's where we get our radiation dosimeter, a device that tracks the radiation we accumulate during the day. Got it. Look, this here measures radiation. It looks like a flash drive, see? Oh, that's cool. Even the trash cans here are in the colors of the Ukrainian flag, which are blue and yellow. My bus is over there. There are vans and buses. Each company and package has a different price. This place I'm about to enter now, travelers, used to be an old hospital. My God, everything is destroyed. I'm definitely not one of the most sensitive people in the world, but wow, this place has a creepy energy, a really strange vibe. You can see that it's like this. Just the base, the structure of the house. That's crazy, travelers. Guys, something's really wrong here. I don't want to be alone in these houses. They're way too creepy. I'm shocked, travelers. This lady, she decided she was going to live alone. She lived alone in this village. Look at that. The place is simply beautiful, surrounded by nature. It's even hard to believe what happened because the houses are completely destroyed. People used to live here. See that? This house is where Mistress Galina lived until 2015. She chose to come here even though no one else wanted to. They said, Galina, you're crazy. But she insisted, no, I'm staying. Amazingly, she didn't die from radiation, but simply of old age. Look at that. You have to be very careful here. You can't go just anywhere, only where the guides really allow. With so much destruction, things could fall on your head, and one wrong step could be dangerous. The guide was also saying that there's a market up ahead that was shut down, but in the past, no one could touch the food except the vendors. In the former Soviet Union, only vendors could distribute food and you had no choice. They gave you whatever they wanted, expired or not, no one knew. It was crazy. Look at this beautiful place. It's difficult to connect the disaster to such a beautiful landscape and nature. Before we continue, it's important to understand why the Pripyat region was chosen for the world's largest nuclear power plants. In the 1960s, plans were made to build the world's largest nuclear power plant. The Soviet Union tended to be grandiose. They wanted to build the largest nuclear power plant, and they wanted this plant to be strategically located near Russia. They picked northern Ukraine, near Russia and Belarus, which was also part of the Soviet Union and had great water reserves to cool the reactors. Later, I'll explain to you that the main cause of the accident here in Chernobyl was exactly the cooling issue. But that's for later, pay attention. This region also had easy railway access, which made it much easier for people and goods to come and go. They began developing the plant project in the 60s, but it only started operating in the 80s. And the explosion only happened in 1986. This is the market, travelers. Little market, all destroyed too. Nothing was left. Travelers, I'm going into this exclusion zone. It's wild. So many dreams ruined, right? There's another checkpoint now, the Liliv checkpoint. They gave us a map to help us follow and understand what's happening. There's a little house, a guard sitting there. Look, bam, 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 some people walking around. He opened the gate here, and I think we're moving on. The previous one checked every passport, but this one doesn't check anything. We're not going to move on that easily. We've stopped now. This is Chernobyl, travelers. We're at the Liliv checkpoint. Remember when I mentioned the importance of water? Look at the size of this lake here, which is used to cool the reactors. Cool down is the right word for cooling the reactors. This here is the sarcophagus that we're going to visit in a little while. This here is a bus stop that was never used. It was supposed to be a summer camp for children, but that camp never happened. Ah, there. It's beeping, travelers. It exceeded 0.3, the safe level, and started beeping as soon as it did. This place mostly had checkpoints and control points. This was another control point for the radar called Duga. I'll show you Duga. It was a radar that the Soviets created super hidden in the middle of the woods that could detect missiles. Because at that time the Cold War was going on, and during the Cold War there was this obsession with grandeur and superiority. where the United States and the Soviet Union competed for global control who would be in charge. Then they invented chemical toilets. Just kidding. I'm heading over to take a Cherno too. Wait until you see the explosion. Look, this place is abandoned. This is all real. All real. During the Cold War, there was an obsession with grandeur, with each side competing. In hindsight, it was a waste of time. Because one would waste time building a missile, then the other would spend his time building a radar that could locate a missile and see if any missile was coming. Then the other would waste time doing who knows what, instead of investing what? Investing all that money in education, in healthcare? What a joke. And look at the size of what they built, this radar. And here, we can't even get a signal, not even 3G, it's a joke.
I'm kind of weak. I'm tired. I don't know if it's the radiation that hit me.
I'm even noticing you have darker circles under your eyes here, really deep.
Hold on, the radiation hit me. Radiation just hits here, my friend. There's never a bad time. When it does, we shake it off and send it out to the universe. Throw it far away. Travelers, look at the size of this. That's what I'm telling you guys. It's huge. It was 150 meters, 150 meters tall. Look at that. Look at this. I've never seen anything like it. I don't know if it's focusing, girls, but there are several little threads here. Look, can you see? That's crazy. You see that humans are their own worst enemy, right? Man is his own worst enemy. It's crazy how much time they spent building this. It's massive. It was called the woodpecker radar because it could pick up short waves. There was one at 100 meters for long waves and one at 150 meters for short waves. Travelers, pay attention. Aren't you guys impressed? Look at this.
Soviet.
From the Soviets, for God's sake. Like, can you imagine the work it took to stack all this stuff here?
This thing is a lot of work because it's heavy.
I wasn't talking about you, son. I'm talking about this gigantic thing. Look at this. Even our guide agreed with me earlier that they could have used the money for all of this here, which was millions and millions and millions of dollars, to invest in education, in food, in health. But they didn't. Human beings have to be studied, right? By themselves. They're really crazy creatures, really wild creatures. Right after Chernobyl exploded, this place lost its use. A lot of things rusted soon after, and the Soviet Union ended in 1991. My friend, it became a pile of scrap. Now it's a tourist attraction, but still impressive. I'm seeing all kinds of crazy things here. One is the woman sitting her butt down here on the ground to take a picture, getting radiation through her behind. Another is right here. Look, petting the dog. The dog is radioactive, my friend. That's a Cherno dog, don't touch him. He's cute. Look, there's another. After that, I give them a week to live. Just kidding. No, you know, in Chernobyl, people's biggest fear is being born with two bellies.
It's true.
My biggest fear. I don't want to touch anything. What if I grow a second belly? I'm desperate. I can't even get 3G here. This is ridiculous. Now, guys, we've reached the first exclusion zone. There were two exclusion zones. One was 10 kilometers and the other was 30 kilometers. The 30-kilometer zone was later made with a bigger diameter for a greater safety margin, keeping people farther from the accident's epicenter. Wow, 448? 5, 6. There's a lot of radiation in this soil, and the recommended dose, right, the maximum dose of radiation we could have is 0.3. Isn't that crazy? The closer you are to the epicenter of the explosion, the more your Geiger counter will beep. And here in this area where we are, since it's very close, they created the famous radioactive cemeteries, where they buried radioactive waste in huge trenches so that this radiation would be eliminated over time. Many believed Pripyat, Chernobyl would be uninhabitable or unvisitable for 100 years after the explosion. What's going on here, my God?
You can't stay here long, okay?
You can only step on concrete, not dirt, because dirt will contaminate your shoes. Jeez, 5. Hey guys, let's go. In this first exclusion zone, there's an abandoned kindergarten. This is Europe's largest ghost town, travelers. It's surreal. Look up, travelers. Even the ceiling is destroyed. It took a long time for the Soviets to admit that the explosion had happened and that the reactor had actually collapsed and exploded. For 3 days, no one knew what was happening. When the order came from the Soviet government for an immediate evacuation, everyone had only 2 hours to grab what they could and run. So the people of Pripyat left in a hurry. In 2 hours, about 30,000 people were evacuated. But they didn't say they were leaving forever. They said that in 3 days, everyone would come back. Many people left behind books, toys, and other items because they thought, I'll be back in 3 days just taking a small suitcase with simple clothes. But I never returned. This is Reactor 5, my son. They covered it so quickly and poorly with metal that it rusted fast. While trying to fix it, they abandoned the cranes. Behind me is the latest sarcophagus placed over the reactor, which is also the first one they built. It didn't hold up because it was made in a rush. Really poorly, really half-baked, you know? We're going over there, but we can't stay too long. Our guide allowed only 7 minutes to visit the sarcophagus and observe the explosion site. We couldn't stay longer or film everything, just select parts. It's raining now. It's really tense, my god. So now last year, in November, they inaugurated the new sarcophagus, a good one which will last for many years. Travelers, I wanted to share some of our experience and my thoughts on Chernobyl so far. We stopped at a cafeteria near Reactor 4, which exploded, to have lunch. So Kaka and I, we didn't want to eat. We said, let's not eat because it must be very radioactive food, really crazy. But we were talking to our guide. He simply comes here 12 months a year. He works a regular job and takes 30 days off. He's here daily, eats lunch at this cafeteria, gets radiation every day, and said it's very normal. I don't think it's as great as people say. I think they're exaggerating.
They exaggerate a little. He said if you touch the dog, just wash your hands with soap and water.
So, where are the radiation experts? Where are the followers of the travelers? Comment down below about this. What do you think about Chernobyl? Is it really that dangerous? Many people told me I'd have to throw away my shoes, t-shirts, sneakers, and not wear a watch because it could become radioactive. It's pretty calm since most meters read 0.3. Let's check the current reading. It's 0.29, which is below 0.3, so it's very safe for you. Now we're going to go through the cafeteria where they're going to measure your radiation level so you can enter. You can't be too radioactive, you know? You can't be Chernobylid. If you're Chernobylid, you eat at home. Here's the INSS line for the machine. Let me show you the cafeteria is very Soviet. Look, it's just a big square. And also they said you couldn't smoke or bring stuff from outside, but people smoke anyway. There's even a Chernomac. It's real, Chernomac exists, my son. Where did they find this McDonald's in here, my god? When we boarded the bus, they told us not to eat, smoke, or do anything, or radiation could enter through our mouths. Even our guide was smoking a cigarette, I saw it. He seemed relaxed, and I noticed the other guide eating fries. Miss Chernobyl, are you kidding me? Look how cute you are. I just want to squeeze you and pet you, but I shouldn't. Look, Kaka is going to film me here going through the radiation detector. I really feel like I'm back in time. It's like I'm in the Soviet Union in the 70s. A radiation meter lets you cross while several guards watch. Here's how it works. You need to light the two on top. If the bottom two light up, that's bad.
You have to light this one and then you're good to go.
Cleared? Amen. Done, Kaka, you made it. Everyone pa, no high five. Your hand's radioactive, I know it. Ah, cute little restaurant, simple but cute. What's this? Ah. Travelers, I can't believe we're actually going to get to eat. Because we didn't book the tour with food, we booked the tour without food, but they found a way. This is a real cafeteria meal, right? Let me grab some bread. We have the Cherno soup, the Chernolade, which is a Cherno salad, Cherno bread, Cherno chicken, and the bile bread. Is it good, Kaka? It's not good, is it? This food seems really bad. Kadu, do you like it?
A little bit bland.
That's why there's salt. Look, there's a big pepper and salt shaker on the table. Lunch costs about $100 or roughly €4. Lunch and Chernobyl. Let's go. I want you to comment down below if you would have the courage to eat Chernobyl food. This soup is really delicious. It's really good. And I don't even want to think about how things are made because the cafeteria is really close to where the reactor exploded. Son, just eat and don't overthink. Do you think radiation is a seasoning?
So there's very little.
The food is just so-so for the price, okay, right? And there are people, my people who work here. Look how crazy that is. These guys here, they're workers. Look, these people in gray that I'm showing you here are people who work. Even after the disaster, some plants kept operating. Isn't that crazy? After Reactor 4 exploded, Ukraine continued producing nuclear energy until 2000. There was an agreement with the European Union that if it helped Ukraine recover, blah, 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 they would stop using nuclear energy and shut down the nuclear plants. And that's what happened. In 2000, it closed. The last plant stopped operating. But it's crazy to think that even after Chernobyl, they kept working here around the area like it was nothing. How many people didn't die? And it's funny to think that back then, right? I'm not talking about that long ago. I'm talking about 33 years ago. People knew radiation was harmful 33 years ago. I think there weren't as many studies or cases of intense radiation exposure. Fukushima was also much more recent. It's funny how we say to learn from history and not repeat it. Soon we'll visit the famous sarcophagus and I'll explain how the explosion happened in Reactor 4. Here's a traveler's opinion. Go ahead, Kaka.
Everything felt fake. Only Chernobyl was missing, ready to appear out of nowhere. Hi, everyone!
It's just that really, travelers, there are some things we look at and think, wow, they scare us so much, but it's not really like that. It's not that great. Our guide also said the places we visited are very neat. For example, you go to daycare or kindergarten and notice the doll on the bed, the coloring book, and similar things. It seems like it was kind of a staged scene, but according to the guide, it's the tourists who set it up to take pictures.
I think we have to be careful.
We must respect this place because of its significant history and to prevent repeating past mistakes.
Coming here just to follow a trend? That's why I think it's becoming fake. You need to respect the history.
It's what I told you back at the kindergarten we visited, that there are so many interrupted dreams. Many died, so others could live, making it very serious. I saw people posing for photos and acting oddly, so I said, show some respect. We are now at the tour's most anticipated stop in Chernobyl, Reactor 4. I'm really looking forward to exploring Pripyat and getting to know the city.
But before that, I wanted to tell you about the explosion, how it happened, and what caused this explosion.
The accident happened on April 26, 1986, a little over 33 years ago. Chernobyl already had 3 reactors and a 4th in operation. They really wanted to run a test with this 4th reactor to find an efficient way in case there was a power outage and they needed to cool the reactors until they had enough power for the generators to restart this reactor. This could take about a minute. But when they went to do this test, several things started to happen. The team assigned to do the test and trained for it was from 10 hours before the scheduled test time. So the entire team had already been replaced. Unqualified workers who didn't know how to do the test ended up performing it. At that time in the Soviet Union, people faced heavy pressure to show results. And the supervisor himself said, let's not do it carelessly. Let's just get it done. We report that the test was completed, that it was a success, and move on with our lives. This was mainly because the supervisor and many others knew about the emergency button, which reset everything and made things fine. But that emergency button didn't work either. The test was a failure. The emergency button didn't work. This thing just exploded. The roof flew off. Production, can you tell me how many tons it weighed? It's crazy how heavy it was. 2 people died instantly. 134 firefighters who were carrying out the rescue were rushed to Moscow Hospital 6. Of those firefighters, 24 died in the following days, and several others died in the following months or years. Mainly due to things related to radiation, because radiation ends up causing mutations in cells, it causes cancer, and several irreversible damages. Here they tell you to only take pictures in one direction, which is this direction here. I don't know why that is. I think it's for safety, right? Because there are cameras here and there. And this here is the new sarcophagus, which was just implemented a few months ago. There was even an inauguration with the president of Ukraine. In the end, a lot of people blamed the reactor, others blamed the team, but actually the fault was with both. It was a human error, but mainly a failure of this type of power plant. After this accident, all such power plants, I'll leave the type name here, were rebuilt. Plants were recalled to improve safety, but since 2000, no new nuclear power plants have been built in Ukraine. Here near the reactor, it's 0.8783. That's actually not much, right, Kaka?
Yeah.
But I thought it would be a lot more. We can only stay here for about 7 minutes. The tour is pretty quick. Afterwards, I have some things I'm going to tell you about Chernobyl, and another video that you need to watch. You can't come to Chernobyl before watching my second video. This is the first one. Watch the second for more truths. We've reached Pripyat's entrance gate. When construction began on Pripyat in the 70s, it was meant to be a modern city of the future. They wanted everyone to come work at Chernobyl. It was kind of a dream. So, Pripyat was a very well-planned city, very well-structured, with parks. Just so you know, we're going to visit an amusement park that was supposed to open 5 days before the explosion. It was supposed to open, I think, on May 1st, and the explosion happened on April 26th. And nearby there's also the Red Forest, which is a forest full of radiation. Yeah, it's not that much here. It's showing 67. That's not a lot. Now, something really cool is that they're showing a video clip of what the city was like before the accident, right along the exact path we're taking, so we can see how the streets used to be and how they look now. Now we've arrived in Pripyat, which is the largest ghost town in Europe, if not in the world. It's really crazy to see that the city wasn't destroyed because of the explosion. It was destroyed because it was abandoned. The Soviet government took too long to warn people. For several days they denied the seriousness of the explosion. The Soviets didn't want to admit internationally that an evacuation was necessary. They wanted everyone to stay calm, to keep quiet, and that they would solve everything quickly. But that wasn't the case. The situation was far more serious than they imagined. 3 or 4 days later, the Soviet government finally admitted it and told people to evacuate the area. But just for about 2 or 3 days, then you come back. People never came back, and you see the houses exactly as if someone had left and would return the next day. And the people in Pripyat were very happy. They earned 4 times more than a typical Soviet worker and received many privileges. The government built stadiums, planned a great amusement park, and the population kept growing. It was estimated that by the year 2000, if the accident hadn't happened, the population would have been 100,000 people. Back then, 50,000 was a large city, right? Let's be honest. But life isn't always easy, is it, travelers? Many workers who came to Pripyat, they came with a dream. They had a dream here of living in Pripyat. And they stayed for a long time in a dormitory until the government gave them a house. When the government gave them this house, it became fully theirs. Because during the socialist era, no one could own a house. The houses belonged to the state. If you worked here in Pripyat, you'd eventually have your own house. Now I'll take you to Pripyat Center. The administrative center of Pripyat. When the news of the explosion leaked, many leaders were reportedly in this building on the 4th or 5th floor discussing what to do. This building behind me used to be a cultural center. An interesting fact is that there were no churches in Pripyat, so if people wanted to get married, they could do so at the cultural center. And I'm amazed by the beauty of Pripyat. Nature has become really beautiful here. After all that happened, nature has flourished. The colors here are so vivid. It's hard to believe this city is a ghost town. Up there is the Soviet Union symbol. I dreamed a lot about taking this tour. I'm thrilled to make this dream come true. If you have a dream, pursue it, you can achieve it. Another dream fulfilled. Let's continue. I want to show you Pripyat's amusement park. Travelers, imagine with me what Pripyat once was. Put a photo on the screen, production. Look at what a beautiful city. Look at what a beautiful city. This here was a market that fed a lot of people. During the Soviet era, Ukraine had just 2 major markets, one in Kyiv and one in Pripyat. Look here, some shoes thrown around, and over there it's written in Russian, vegetables, juices, water. It's a supermarket aisle with abandoned shopping carts. Look at that, crazy. In these markets, you sometimes had to bring your own packaging. For example, if you wanted to buy flour, you had to bring your own flour bag. If you wanted to buy oil, you had to bring your own oil bottle. The Soviet Union had a really crazy system, you know? Because at the same time that everyone was supposed to have the right to everything, everyone was supposed to have access to everything. But it wasn't really like that. There was much less food than people in those countries. Such a cool yet sad trip. This here is the amusement park, which was supposed to open 5 days after the accident at Reactor 4. That's wild. It was a beautiful park. Pripyat was meant to be a wonderful city, and it was, but only briefly. Look, the Ferris wheel never operated. They tested it only once, but it keeps turning. See, can you see it? I think it's because of the wind that naturally it turns one way, then turns the other. And there are a few more rides over there. There's a merry-go-round, swings, and bumper cars here. They say the bumper cars are radioactive. Let's check. 1.5, not much. Look, someone went in. We're not supposed to, but some people ignore the rules. Don't be like them. I continue my journey, leaving dreams and stories behind. Let's head to the next stop. It's raining heavily here in Pripyat. We visited a stadium that was never inaugurated as it was set to open just days after the accident. It's wild, no one ever saw a game here. A big match was planned, but it never happened. We're entering the pool now. The guide says it's not allowed, but will make an exception for us. Everything is destroyed.
We go past this basketball court and now the pool.
Wow, so we just passed through a place where the radiation levels are insanely high. To leave, traveler, you must take your final radioactivity test. If you pass, you can go home. We measured ours, and it was only 2 microsieverts. That's about 40 minutes on a regular airplane. Travelers, what an adventure. Travelers, what an adventure. I'm here, look, with the clothes I'm going to throw away. A lot of people say you don't have to throw them away, but I will. I'm a little afraid of radiation. They say a whole day in Chernobyl equals 2 microsieverts production.
Yes.
2 microsieverts, which means 40 minutes flying. So 40 minutes flying in an airplane has the same radiation as 2 microsieverts. For example, eating 20 bananas gives you the same radiation. It's not surreal, but I'm throwing it away since I wore old clothes to Chernobyl as planned. This jacket is covered in stubborn fuzzballs. I'll post a video with details I didn't share today, like specific prices, how to get to Ukraine, why choose this company, which company to choose, and some behind the scenes details about Chernobyl that you don't know, but you need to know before taking a trip like this. Seriously, don't miss tomorrow's video, which will be packed with lots of details, and also on the blog estevanpelomundo.com.brazil. Check everything out, follow me on Instagram, leave a like. Bye! I've showered and will show how we'll dispose of the Chernobyl clothes. Will you get rid of yours, Kaka?
No.
You're not getting rid of them? Why?
Why not? It's only a 40-minute flight. I'll wash them with water, soap, and vinegar.
They say it works, but I'm suspicious. I have these old sneakers and I'm going to get rid of them. I grabbed some old socks too. See, I separated my clothes here in the bathroom at the Airbnb. I grabbed the oldest underwear I had, the oldest sweatpants I had, and a basic black t-shirt that was already getting white under the arms. See? And I'm going to get rid of it. Travelers, it took up half my tiny carry-on suitcase that I brought to Ukraine. She's about to throw it and her sock away. I saw it. That sock really stinks, you know?
Travelers, pack 2 pairs of sneakers instead of relying on one for a 3-month trip.
No, I always bring 2. Give your feet a break, or it feels like sneakers mold to them and become ergonomic, not really orthopedic, but ergonomic, right? You can't do that. You have to rotate them.
So it goes in the trash.
So I have this one here. Look, this Vans here, it's supposed to last another year, right? It's because I'm into Vans. I put them on my feet. No, just kidding. I like other sneakers too. But like, when traveling, what's cool about Vans? It's that they go with everything. So it's the kind of sneaker you can wear with shorts, to a party, to dinner, for anything. Remember, you're amazing and can achieve anything. Please like, this video took a lot of work.